So if you're a wholesaler or house flipper looking to run PPC to get motivated sellers, let this be the main video that's going to teach you everything you need to know about running PPC as a real estate investor. I'm a wholesaler myself, and I only do it for real estate investors all across the country. So if you want me to run your PPC for you instead, feel free to click the link in the description, and I'd be happy to chat with you and see what we can do. But otherwise, let's get to the video. Exactly everything you need to know about setting up a campaign from start to finish, maintaining it, and everything you should be doing as a real estate wholesaler to get the highest quality motivated sellers using PPC for the cheapest cost. Because that's the game. If you let PPC, Google, actually take over as much budget as you let them, they're going to take every single dollar that you let them. And the whole reason of running a campaign is to run it efficiently, so we're only getting quality clicks, so that each click that we do get, we actually feel good about spending money on that because there's a high potential chance that they fill out our form, right? And so that's exactly what we're looking to do. And so with that being said, we're going to go through all the steps. I have 7 steps here listed out, and the first one is going to be building the actual campaign. Now, I'm not going to go over that today because that is kind of a longer process. I have a video I'm going to link in the description that's going to show you exactly step by step how to actually set up the campaign. If you haven't set up your campaign yet, go watch that first video and then come back to this video because it's going to show you everything else you will really need to know. And so then from here, once you have the campaign set up from the first video, now we are going to get to the point where we're going to set up and make sure our ads are looking okay. So pretty much like this is when you'll set up the campaign, you have your ads, everything's looking good. But this is really what I want to look at. So I want to make sure that this small detail, because this is going to increase our conversions quite a bit. So let's make sure pretty much the biggest thing, because this is going to increase our conversions quite a bit, is you want to make sure obviously your landing page is relevant to whatever area you're targeting. Obviously I'm in Sioux Falls, so I'm going to use my homepage because my homepage is targeting Sioux Falls. So make sure all these are filled out and try to do all 15 as well as all 4. I talk about this in the first video. Then you want to make sure you add other images with houses. This is a big thing for what I like to do. I like to add local houses, people who actually will see the ad and they'll be like, wow, that's actually a house that I could see being in Sioux Falls. That's a big thing. If you want to put pictures of yourself, you can, but I think it does more justice when you put a house that is clearly located in whatever area you're targeting with ads. This is going to be definitely your best bet, is just to add as many images as you can. I would do anywhere from 5 to 8 realistically. I know I have 4, but realistically in a perfect world, I would put 5 to 8. Now, right here, what I would do is I would make sure you put your company name in here. Now, it obviously either has to match your advertiser name or your URL. Obviously, in my case, the URL is literally my company name, so then I in here can get away with this. Now, you can't just put a random business name in there. It's got to match your URL, or it has to match the advertiser name when you get verified to advertise on Google by submitting your LLC documentation and your ID as well. And so this is huge, because if you can have your business name along with images, and then we'll get to this now, which is your logo, this is going to increase your conversion rate so much. Because if I scroll up here on a perfect day, it should show, I hope it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it'll show this, but you get my point. Basically, instead of it looking like this, it's going to have a logo right here. It's going to have the name right here, and then it's going to have everything else there, because now what it's going to do is make you look like an actual company. When you have images, business name, and a logo, it's going to increase your conversions, because every single one of your competitors, nationwide competitors or other competitors, are usually going to half-ass this and bypass this because they don't think it's that important, but it is so important, especially if you have a Google Business Profile, to have all these things. Because if your competitors' ads look like this, but yours has a logo, business name, and images and everything, especially when you add your address asset, which we'll get to here later, that's all you need. And not only is it going to help you get better conversions because people realize you're local when instead of clicking on an ad that's a nationwide URL with nothing really to show for it, it's also going to make sure your cost per click is cheaper. You're able to get to the top easier and cheaper when you have the relevancy of being closer, right? So that's the biggest thing. So when you go onto that, you also want to make sure you have your site links. So usually what I like to add is all the filler pages of the website. So the how it works, sell your house, about us. If you have a contact us, if you have other pages that you want to add as many as you can in here, or anything that you can add in here. Obviously tracking template and stuff, that's not a huge deal. I'm mainly concerned about site links, logo, business name, and images. We need to make sure we have this. If you update it in one of your one of your ad groups, it'll update for all your ad groups if you have multiple like me. So that's the first thing I wanted to look at. Now, pretty much what I want to do is go over to the assets column and set up our actual location. So this is a big deal as well, because just like I mentioned, if we add our location, it's going to allow us to not only get higher for cheaper, but it's going to increase our conversion rate when people see our ad and they see that, oh, the address is actually located in Sioux Falls, for example. So this is all you have to do. You have to just go to location. It's going to connect to your Google Business Profile. So just make sure you just click the add button here. And if you don't have a Google Business Profile, you need to. I would not run PPC without one. Very easy to get approved. Make sure you're just doing what you're supposed to be doing, getting consistent reviews and everything like that. I actually have a video on my channel about Google Business Profiles. If you want to go ahead and find that, I go into a 30-minute rant about that. But make sure you have your profile connected here. It's going to increase your conversions and decrease your cost per click, which is literally the game. So then from here, once we have all that small stuff, you have your campaign set up, you have your ads set up, you have your location asset in there. We are now ready to go. We're ready to go. But the first thing we're going to make sure is that you have conversions. That's the biggest thing. So what we need to understand about PPC that a lot of people don't get is that, okay, we have in here what we call our bidding, or I guess the ways to bid actually, right? And so if we go in here, I'm going to show you, I'm in a maximize conversions bidding. You can go in here and change bid strategy, and it's going to show you all the different ways how you want to bid. Now, if you are a brand new PPC account, I need to make sure you know this. You do not want to use any of these conversions, conversion value, if you do not have any conversions or have never gotten a lead before ever with PPC. This is a huge problem. You need to make sure that you're doing maximize clicks right away. So now my budget's $125 a day. If I'm brand new, I'm not really concerned about the budget. I'm not concerned about getting quality leads. It's going to take around a month or two, maybe 2 months, maybe even 3 months, depending on how competitive the area actually is, because the more competitive it is, the harder it's going to be, and the more conversions you're going to need for actually Google to understand your campaign and what you're actually trying to do. Because when you set this as maximize conversions, they need to know what a conversion is. And so when you have enough conversion data, they're going to be like, oh, okay, we're going to search for more of whatever these were, right? That's all they're programmed to do. So you do not want to turn this on, because Google, if you have no conversions, Google has no idea what it's even going after. So what you need to do, what I usually recommend, and if you're in a mid-tier, like in my area, it's not a very large area, it's pretty mid-tier. If you're only going after 500,000 in reach, that's pretty much what I would do, is just do maximize click, keep the campaign the same, exact match and phrase match, and do maximize clicks, because what it's going to do is just allow you to basically show up for a lot of different things, just a lot easier. That way people are just clicking on it and you're hoping that they fill out the form. You're not necessarily going to get the most quality leads right away when you're brand new, but as long as you maximize clicks here, then you're good. Within the month, I would like you to get as many conversions as possible. Typically what I like to do is anywhere from 8 to 12 conversions at least. Ideally, you want more than that, like 20, but as you know, in our industry, there's not many motivated sellers going around town going crazy. And so I would like to get at least 8 to 12 to 15, maybe even 20 conversions depending on the area before I turn this on. Because once you turn this on, and then you're able to set your target cost per action, which essentially in simple terms is cost per lead, this is where it really comes into play, and you can actually play with the numbers and know exactly what the budget needs to be and fluctuate from there. And so, which will bring me into my next thing, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that no matter what, you have to make sure that you have conversions in your account. You've gotten leads on your Google PPC account, and Google can now recognize what a lead actually is in your head, right? And so turn on maximize clicks. Set the budget, relatively lower, and just get as many clicks as you can. If you're not getting conversions with this, you're going to have to go to your keywords, where I know in the first video I talk only about exact match and exact match and phrase match. But if you are still not getting conversions, you need to turn on maximize clicks and then change all of your keywords to broad match keywords. Yes, I know it sucks. This is not the whole point of PPC. You want quality clicks, and broad match obviously can turn into not having quality clicks. But at the end of the day, I'm more worried about getting conversions. That way we can speed up the process and make sure that Google can know what a conversion for us is faster, right? So that's ideally what you're going to do. So if you have a brand new ads account, feel free to do that. And if you have any questions on that, feel free to comment below, and I will be happy to respond to you as quick as I can. Now, then from there, You have your 10 to 15 conversions. Then you're going to set up your conversions as far as your bidding platform. You're going to do conversions here, and then you'll get to set cost per action once you understand when you have the 10 to 15 conversions. You're simply going to go over here, and for example, like if you look at the bottom here, it's going to show you that my cost per lead is around $152. So obviously I have it higher here, but that's strategic. You want to make sure that your budget is using proper, because I always say this is my formula with budget usually. For around every 500,000 people, you're going to spend on a low month $1,500 and on the high around $2,000 a month for every 500,000 people. Probably closer to that 2,000. We can just call it $2,000 for every 500,000 people, which usually can get you around 5 leads on average. So with that, it's something where obviously $125 a day, if you do the math, that's a lot more than $2,000. And I promise you I don't spend more than $2,000 here, and I'm in a market of close to about 500,000 here. And so what I do though is we need to realize that budget is not actually going to live up to its name, so to speak. I don't actually spend $125 a day on budget, and I don't actually spend $320 per lead. But we need to make sure Google knows that. Right? Google, we need to pressure Google. And this is the process of me over months and months of seeing exactly what I need to based off of my ranking. And so how I usually like to set my budget is you want to start off low. So for example, for this campaign, I started off with $50 a day and $150 target cost per lead. And how you can see this is you go in here and you can go to Auction Insights and you can see where you're ranking. This is where you're ranking at the absolute top of the page. This top of page rate means you are one of the top 3 results, in this case, 79% of the time. Impression share basically means how much real estate you're taking up out of all the other people running ads in your space. So with that matter, you take into effect exactly what you need to do to rank. And in this case, it's something where I needed $125 a day to actually show up at the top, and $320 target cost per lead to actually make sure that I'm showing up where I want to, right? And actually getting the leads that I want to. Now I started with $50 a day, started with 150, but this is over the weeks when you see consistently not ranking at the top, because ideally I'm trying to go for around 50% at least, and 80% top of page rate, 50% absolute top of page rate. If you're more than that, more than likely you're overspending. That's usually where I like to find my happy medium with everything, unless you're in a much smaller market and you can just kind of take over. Because if you're doing 100, like for example, these people, I'm sure you noticed, the top people in our market, they run a very, very, very poor campaign. I don't know these guys personally. I spend less than $2,000 a month. I guarantee you these guys probably spend anywhere from $6,000 to $8,000 a month on their PPC, when I'm probably getting the same exact quality of leads they are, even though yes, the numbers here 79%, 40%, but even still, I'm still outranking them in many, because these guys also, if you notice, and I'm actually going to call them out here. Let's do Sell My House Fast. House Fast. No, not Springfield, Massachusetts. Okay, so we're at the top here, but obviously sometimes your logo and stuff doesn't actually show up, but here's what their campaign usually looks like, is they have the URL, and there's actually my website there, but there's their URL, and then they have no logo all the time, whereas I have the site links, I have the address here. Most of the time it shows the logo and brand name, but sometimes it won't always, right? And so that's just something to keep in mind, is even though they are spending way more, it's just because their campaign is run so poorly and they're using so much broad match campaigns and stuff like that. But back to my point on budget, start as low as you can, because like I said, Google Ads, they will take your money if you let them. And so all you need to do is start low, and then if you want to keep ranking from there, keep ranking by increasing your budget and increasing your target cost per lead, as well as you want to make sure when you're doing this as well, when you're setting up your budget and you're continuing to increase your budget just to get ranking, you want to go in your search terms and you want to make sure that you remove negative keywords. Obviously, there's some key terms that are going to show up that you really, with the campaign we have set up, you can't control. For example, I'm going to go in here and Liz Buys Houses, nationwide company that runs PPC. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add it as a negative, and I'm going to add Liz as a broad match negative. I'm going to add mobile homes as a phrase match negative, basically telling Google, hey, I don't want these in here anymore. I don't want these. I'm not trying to pay for these anymore. And what that's going to allow you to do is make your budget go a lot further when they're like, okay, let's take away this, let's take away this, because then you're only spending money on those quality clicks. So that's what you need to do for maintenance every single week. increase your budget if your ranking isn't where you want it to be, as well as making sure you're consistently adding negative keywords. And so there we go. So that's pretty much budget in a nutshell after you actually get your correct conversions. Like I said, this can get a little bit confusing with the conversions and why we have to set up those conversions. I hope it made sense. Feel free to comment below with any questions that you have. But otherwise, that's pretty much all we need to do with finalizing a campaign. Pretty much I'll run back through it. Make sure you build out your campaign correctly. Watch the first video in the link in the description. I'm sure if you're this far, you probably have already and built your campaign properly. Make sure you're setting up your ads. You have images, you have a logo, you have a business name, and you have your site links set up because as I showed you in the SERP example, it's going to do you a lot better. It's going to have a higher conversion rate. It's going to be a lower cost per click because you're going to be able to get up at the top a lot easier and cheaper and quicker, as the example I just showed you as well. And making sure, then moving on, making sure you have enough conversions in your account if you haven't ran PPC already. If you haven't ran PPC already, you need to make sure that you have conversions in your account. And if you have ran PPC with a different agency or whoever, then lucky for you. It's your lucky day. Now you get to start off with the hitting the ground running pretty much. So get those conversions first. Turn on broad match if you need to. Turn on maximize clicks as your bidding strategy. And this should do the trick after about a month. Then from there, you need to continuously set up your budget once you have enough conversions after you switched over to using maximize conversions as your bidding strategy. Then you want to keep increasing your budget as well as your target cost per lead. And so from there, once you are continuing to increase your budget, you want to make sure you are adding to negatives, which I will show you right now exactly how to do that. You pretty much go over here down to your keywords and it's going to show keywords. It's going to show negative keywords. I've already added Liz as a broad match keyword, but for example, I'm going to do Liz. And basically this is broad match. This is phrase match. And this is exact match. And in most cases, in a thing like Liz, which I'll probably make a video about adding negative keywords to your campaign in a different video, but that's how you add negative keywords very, very simply, is you want to just get rid of stuff like that. So cool. Otherwise, there's not much else to it. You just got to make sure you know exactly what you're doing and how to get yourself at the top as much as possible for the right key terms and the right search terms for the cheapest cost. That's literally the game with Google Ads. It's not as hard as you make it seem. You just got to make sure you're doing all the right things, because if you let Google take your money, they will gladly take your money. Just like, for example, with my competitors here in my local area. As you noticed, I was ranking higher than they were. Their domain is literally sellmyhomefast.com, and I was still, as the data shows here, but if I go here, it might be a little bit different, but even then, they're a little bit higher than me still. 87% I'm up there, as well as 51% of the time I'm at the top of page, and I guarantee you they're paying triple than what I am. So take these guys as a lesson. Don't pay too much to get to the top, because I promise you, I'm probably getting more high quality leads than these guys are for a fraction of the cost. So that is the separation between Google Ads and everybody. So I hope you guys found value out of this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'd be happy to chat with you. If you want me to do your PPC for you instead of you doing it yourself, and you don't want to go through all this hassle, feel free to click the link in the description. I'd be happy to chat with you, but thanks for watching.